The European Union is considering a controversial plan that would allow new members such as Ukraine, Moldova, and Montenegro to join the bloc without full voting rights. A move, critics say, exposes Brussels' contradictions as a self-styled defender of democracy. The proposal is seen as a way to bypass Hungary's veto and accelerate enlargement, but opponents argue it effectively creates second-class members with limited influence over EU decisions.
Future members should be required to waive their right of veto until key institutional reforms, such as the introduction of qualified majority voting in most policy areas, have been implemented. Enlargement must not be slowed down by individual EU member states blocking reforms.
Pro-enlargement countries, including Austria, Sweden, and Baltic states, are promoting the plan as a necessary step to keep the EU functional amid expansion. The initiative would allow candidate countries to enjoy membership benefits while temporarily sidelining their democratic rights, avoiding a full overhaul of the Union's treaties, a step previously seen as politically unfeasible.
At the same time, the situation is that Ursula von der Leyen has harmed the European Union so much as few others have in the comparison of the past 1 or 2 decades. During Ursula von der Leyen's presidency of the Commission, the European continent lost its peace. The European continent lost its weight in world politics. The European Union lost its economic competitiveness, and in the European Union, an extreme liberal madness is raging with gender propaganda and everything else with its well-known characteristics. Ursula von der Leyen plays, and has played, an incredibly large role in the destruction of the European Union.
For critics, the proposal confirms long-standing warnings from Hungary's Viktor Orbán and Slovak PM Robert Fico, who argue that Brussels under Ursula von der Leyen has drifted toward centralization and overreach.
Dear friends, solidarity is also disappearing in the European area, as the Slovak folk song "In Vain I Scream, in Vain I Cry" sings. The European Union is in the ideological grip of hatred against Russia and support for the war in Ukraine, and is losing its common sense and ceasing to look at the legitimate interests of individual member states, particularly in the energy sector and in key industrial areas, especially the automotive sector.
By limiting the power of new members, the Commission risks suppressing dissenting voices and prioritizing bureaucratic control over democratic principles.
Waiting is not an option, so what we need is to have a solution here and now. This is important for Ukraine but also for the European Union. I think that as Russia tests European security with drones, the same is done by undermining unity of the European Union.
Even longtime EU aspirants acknowledge the growing frustration. Montenegro's President Jakov Milatovic highlighted the slow pace of accession talks.
The last country that entered the EU was Croatia more than 10 years ago, and in the meantime, the United Kingdom left. So this is why I believe that now is the time to revive the process, to also revive a bit the idea of the EU as a club that still has a gravity towards it.
With France and the Netherlands blocking any limit on veto powers, the plan lays bare the EU's deep cracks. Brussels claims it is defending Europe against Russia, but is it really protecting the continent? Or is Ursula von der Leyen's Commission simply silencing new members and consolidating control? Has the EU's approach to democracy shifted so much that opposition from leaders like Orbán and Fico is forcing the Union to change the very rules it was built on?